Hi friends, today we'll be looking at creating permanent SAS data sets, and SAS procedures cannot read raw data files or spreadsheets directly. One way or another they need the data in SAS data sets. Remember that SAS data steps can create SAS data sets. Okay, you can also have SAS convert data from one source such as Microsoft Office, Excel, Oracle, and DB2. Now, this conversion can be automated by using import wizard or by using access engines, which automatically converts the data into a form of SAS, which it can process. So, in this chapter, what we'll see is how you can create your own SAS permanent data sets, and how to determine the content of a SAS data sets. Okay, so when you write a data statement such as like this, data test, so SAS creates a temporary SAS data set called as test. So when you close your SAS session, this dataset disappears. SAS dataset names usually have two parts in form of SAS dataset names actually have two parts in the form of like this. Okay, livref dot data hyphen set hyphen name. Okay, so these are the two part names in form. Okay, the part of the name before the period is called the libref, short for library reference, and this tells SAS where to store or retrieve the data set. The part of the name after the period identifies the name you want to give to the data set. Okay, now up to now all programming examples what we have seen, what I've given, they use without a period. So when you use a name like test in the data statement, SAS uses a default libref called as work that create work that SAS creates automatically every time when you open the SAS sessions. You can see it here. So this is the default which SAS creates. Now like for example, when I have written this data test so whenever you write like this data test, SAS adds the default libref work so that the statement is equivalent to the uh, libref format. Okay, like this work dot test. Okay, so SAS does that automatically. So all that is required to make your SAS data set permanent is to create your own libref using a libname statement, and use that libref in two level dataset names. Okay, and I'll show you how we'll create that. Okay, like suppose you want to create a permanent dataset called as test scores in your um, the default folder, like which I showed you last time when we created it as my computer in this books. So we have the folder learning. So I'll go and create a permanent SAS dataset in this folder. creating a comment statement, creating a permanent SAS data set, and we'll do it, we'll give the library name, that is lib name, suppose Mozart, and we'll give the path, just copy the path, okay, then I'll create the data set. That is data Mozart dot test underscore scores and give length id data tree name data 15. Then we'll give the input statement, input id dollar score 1 score 3 name dollar, okay, and we'll give the data lines. To 78, 77, 75, 3, 88, 91, 92. Okay, and let us execute this. So the libname statement starts with the libname, okay, keyword, and then specifies the name of the library called the libref. Okay, here this is the libref, and it's followed by the directory or the folder where you want to store your permanent SAS dataset. The libref you must not be more than 8 characters in length and must be a valid SAS name. When you run this program, the SAS dataset test underscore scores become a permanent SAS dataset in the folder what you have provided, that is this. It is important to remember that any libref that you create exists only for the current SAS session. If you open a new SAS session, you need to reissue the new libname statement. A good way to think that libref is an alias for the name of the folder okay on mainframe computers, or a SAS library is actually a single file that can hold multiple SAS data sets. Okay, so when you run this program on a normal Windows platform, the SAS dataset will be stored as the SAS dataset called as test underscores, and it will be stored as in the file test scores test underscore uh, scores.sas7.bdat. Okay, the file extensions, which I told, stands for SAS binary data version 7. You may wonder why there is SAS 7 rather than 9 in file extension. So when this dataset was created, when you create a dataset using a SAS version 9, it changes to SAS version 9. If you use a SAS version 7, um, you know it would be according wise. So, but you must be wondering, like, how does this happen? So right now, when you see, I'll show you here. When I ran this program, it created the Mozart library here. Okay, and inside the Mozart library, as this path is shown, the test underscores scores got created. Okay, so these are the data that we have provided here. Okay, so why should we create permanent SAS data sets? If your data sets are small, you may choose to create them each time you start your SAS session. However, it will take a considerable computer resource to create SAS data sets, and it makes more sense that your data set, when if it is permanent and you plan to use them more than once, especially if they are large, so it makes much more sense that you create a permanent data set then. Okay, and now we'll see the descriptor portion of a SAS dataset using the Proc contents. Okay, now the SAS dataset consists of two parts: the description portion and the data portion. When we to examine the description portion of a SAS dataset is by using a Proc contents. If you want to see the description portion of a SAS data SAS no if you want to see the descriptive portion of the test underscore dataset that we did, then all we have to do is write the statement. Title, we'll give the title first, the descriptor portion of data set test underscores write proc content proc contents data equal to Mozart dot test under underscores run, and we'll run it. Sorry, it's proc contents. descriptive portions, which now the output information about the data set, such as the number of variables, the number of observations, and the creation of and the creation and modification dates. It also displays the information about the SAS version. So you have all this information being shown here. Then you have the data set size, then you have attributes, it shows the engine. Okay, now if you have a quick look at this output, shows that the data set test underscores has 3 observation and 5 variable names. Now the list of the variables in each of the alphabetical order. Okay, these are our variables. Now list of this variables in the alphabetical order, it shows that the ID and name are character variables that are stored in 3 and 15. Okay, and 15 respectively. The 3 scores of the variable are stored in 8 bytes. Okay, so it shows you the length, type. Okay, okay. A more useful way to list variable information is to list them in the order the variables are stored in the SAS dataset rather than alphabetically. To create such a list, we use the varnum option of the proc contents. Okay, and I will show you how that is used. It will be the same program. With the option of varnum. Okay, and we'll run it. Yeah, the output is, if you see, it's same, it's identical. Okay, except the variable list is now shown in the same order as in the variable dataset. Okay, now it's important to remember that if you have just opened a new SAS session, you must reissue the libname statement, and if you want to access your previously created SAS dataset or to create a new one. Now you may use a library name you want each time when you open a SAS statement. You must practice usually the same library reference each time. For example, when you open up a new SAS session, you submit the following statements. Okay, like this: libname, suppose project 99. I'll copy the libname here. test underscores random. And we'll run the program. Okay, so when I will run it, what it will check out is here you get the project 99 folder created with the test scores in it. Okay, now all the SAS datasets in the SAS library can be listed using the proc content statement. I'll show you how this proc content we'll be using. Okay, so listing out all the SAS datasets in a library. Suppose we'll give a title, I'll give the statement proc contents data equal to Mozart dot underscore all underscore ODS, and we'll run it. So you see it is showing all the files which is there in the it is showing all the files which is there in the in that library. Okay, this is the file name, the size, it's the member type. Okay, so now viewing the descriptor portion of the SAS dataset, we can also view it in the SAS Explorer itself. Okay, all we need to do is go to the Explorer and go to the, suppose this one we wanted to check out, so double click and get into it. So that's the simple way to check the dataset which all are there in the library. And suppose we want to find out about the attributes of the data in a particular data set here, so just right click on it, open it and get to the properties. It will show you each and every what type it is, the name, the create and the modified, what sort of where it is located. Then the details will show you about the rows and columns. Then it will show you the column names, types, the length. Okay, so this is how you can check for the contents and the properties of the dataset what you have created in the library. With the given program, you can do it through the programming environment, or use the interface to navigate and find the properties. We can also use the SAS dataset as an input to a set as an input to a SAS step, a data step. So beside raw data files, SAS dataset can also be used as an input to a data step. As an example, you might want to use the information in an existing SAS dataset to compute new variables. As an example, let's consider the dataset in the test underscore, okay, which is stored in our learning folder. Okay, now this dataset contains variable IDs, names, scores 1 2 3. Okay, scores 1 2 3. Okay, suppose you want to compute an average score for each subject in the dataset, and how will be achieving that? Let's start off, create a new dataset, data, new, set learn dot test and score have scores equal to mean of score 1 to score 3. And give the run. I'll give a title, which will be listing of data set. We'll give a proc print data new, we'll give the variable IDs, scores, score, score 3, and the average score. And we'll run it. So let's run this first. Okay, yeah, I made the mistake. set the lib name learn. This is there in so this is the statement which it was missing, and it was showing error because I didn't assign the library name. So now the library name is assigned. Now let's run this. So after running this program, we see the dataset has been created here in that learn section. Double click it, you see the dataset. Okay. And you see the new dataset is also created from the learn.text.scores. From there, the new dataset is created in the work library. Okay, this is the new dataset which is having the average scores also here. Okay, and let's run this part of the program. So when you run that program, what you'll get is the output here getting displayed. Okay, so the proc print data displays it, average. So the variables are ID'd here and it's been displayed. Okay. So the key to this program is the set statement. You can think the set statement as an input statement, except you are reading the observation from the SAS data instead of the lines from a raw data file. There is a difference, however, each time you read a line of the data from a raw data file. The variable being read from the data file is created by a assign statement in the data step and initialized to a missing value during each iteration of the data step. Variables that are read from the SAS dataset are not to be missed value during each iteration of the data step. They are therefore set to be retained. Now in the program what we did it was like the variable names, ID, names and the scores were retained. The variable average score is not retained. So this fact is not a concern to us here, but it can be used to the advantage in the more advanced stages of the program. The assignment statement that creates the average score variable uses the mean function to compute the mean of the three score variables. Okay, and we can go into this sort of we will be dealing with the mean function in the later chapter. Okay, after that let's see what is data underscore null underscore. The most of the time you'll come across this. What does it? It is basically a data set that isn't. So there are many applications where you want to process observation in a data set, perhaps to print out data errors or to produce a report, and you don't need to create a new data set. You can use the data set name underscore null underscore for these applications. The reserved data set name underscore null underscore tells the SAS not to create a data set. It enables you to process the observation from the existing data set without the overheading of creating a new data set. Suppose you are having a permanent data set. Let's say the last time what we took as test underscores score, and you want to list all the IDs of the student who have achieved a score of 95 or higher on any of the test. You could create a new data set and use the proc print to enlist the student, or you can do it in a much more efficient way using the data underscore null underscore. And how this is being used, I'll just show you right now. Data null underscore, and we will set learn dot test scores, but if scores are greater, score 1 is greater than 95, or score 2 greater than 95, or score 3 greater than 95, then put ID equal to score 1 equal to score 2 equal to score 3 equal to, and we'll run it. Right now, so when you run the program, you see it displays the scores, okay, here without getting the printout. So this is for why we use null underscore, sorry, underscore null underscore. Now placing the put statement in a data step is an excellent way to help debug a SAS program. You can determine the values of your variables at any place of the data step. Now if you want to send an output file and you want to place the file statement, and you need then if you want to suppose send the output to a file, suppose high scores, and let's that location to be in the learning folder, and you need to place a file statement before the put statement. Okay, here I'll show you how. File, suppose I need to transfer the file to here, like this. A file statement is somewhat like an in-file statement. That isn't it's working in concert with the put statement also. Now telling the SAS destination about the text you are outputting. Now if you want the results of the put statement to be written to the output device on a PC, or you want to be output on a window, you can use the reserve file reference like print, okay, which is like file print. So this is the reserve file reference. Now data underscore null underscore steps are sometimes used to create custom reports. As in the matter of fact, this type of reports is referred to as data underscore null underscore reporting. To control how SAS writes this output, you can use pointers and format to specify exactly what column to write and how the values have to be formatted. Right? So we'll catch up with the next chapter.